Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Legal Shit. I'm here with TK and Antoinette. We're here in downtown West Palm Beach and on a beautiful Saturday morning, I guess it is. Good morning, everyone.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, everyone.
How's everybody doing? Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, this is Antoinette.
And this is TK.
And I'm Tim. And welcome to Legal Shit, where we discuss all things legal. So this morning, first of all, I wanted to kind of update everyone on the Shannon Atkins case, which we're following regularly. For those of you who don't know, or for those of you who do know and wanted to know any updates, Shannon Atkins was the individual Florida resident who was arrested for making online threats against President Trump. Also, when he was arrested, he was found in possession of cocaine. And so there were 3 cases against him. All have now been consolidated, and the state filed what's known as an information. That's the charging document.
Okay.
And they've charged him with 2 counts. One count was for the online postings against President Trump, and the second count was for possession of cocaine. I think there's an arraignment set for later this month. I think it's February 27th. And so at that time, he'll be advised of the charges that have been filed against him by the state, and he'll plead guilty, not guilty, things of that nature. So that's where that case stands. It's just waiting for an arraignment on the 27th. So today we're going to talk about a kind of a...
do we not get to say something?
Sure. All right. Hey, good morning.
I mean, just saying.
I'm just giving an introduction. Go ahead, Antoinette.
Yeah, but you're skipping from Shannon to something else.
Okay.
So at the same time, his friends are going around. His friends are supporting. So reach out if you need to reach out to his friends. Do whatever you can for those Shannon supporters, because he is a comedian. He is a local celebrity of the downtown area, and he has a lot of followers. So whatever he did doesn't mean that he's executed and for death. Please, give him some support. Like I said, I've known him for years, and to me, he's not a bad person. Yes, he said something wrong. He got in trouble, but hey, could be your child.
Yep.
Teddy, you have anything to say about it?
I really don't, because it looks like right now they've just formally charged him, and it's the beginning of something new now. So trials are coming up. I think we've already stated what the backlash has been. Yeah. And moving forward, I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
more than a slap on the wrist just to talk about the president.
No. Listen,
or the charges, the coke.
Well, yes, that's and the thing is, as it works through the system, and as the parties do discovery, and they see what types of challenges to the charges and things of that nature. So it just has to work its way out for a while, and the justice system moves very slowly, and that's deliberate.
Especially if you don't have any money.
Well, that's true.
It's even slower.
Well, actually, sometimes the more money you have, the slower you can make it. But anyway. In any event, so this morning we're going to talk about what's kind of a controversial subject.
I'm so excited about this, by the way.
Oh, Lord. This is not a subject I wanted to talk about, but that's fine. Let them win. They can have their case.
That's right. You can talk about beauty next week or something like that.
Beauty.
The legalities of beauty.
By the way, here I'm a walking billboard.
Just because I'm a woman, you talking about beauty?
I'm wearing Ocean hair bar right here.
Ocean
hair bar.
Nigerian.
So that's a shameless plug right here.
Yes.
Ocean hair bar.
You want to tell everyone what Ocean is?
No, I think you guys should look it up. OceanHairBar.com.
Spell it for them.
OSHUN. Oshun.
And what does that mean? What's Oshun? What does Oshun mean? I'm just asking.
It's a Nigerian goddess of hair, beauty, fertility. It's all about beauty and womanhood.
So the interesting thing, before we get into today's topic about Oshun, is Teddy and I were in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, in South Vietnam, and I had been there with Antoinette before. So this happened sometime after Antoinette and I left, and Teddy and I were there. There's a big building, and the name of the business is Oshun.
Yes, because of me, because I wear the hat all the time.
So that's their headquarters, right?
Their headquarters.
That's one of your locations. One of the headquarters is in Ho Chi Minh City.
There we go, Ho Chi Minh City.
It's a goddess. She is a goddess.
Well, anyway, so homelessness.
Yes.
It's a controversial topic, and I think a lot of the controversy has to do with who's affected the most by it. People that live out west, out in gated communities, they don't face the homeless problem every day. People such as ourselves who live right downtown West Palm Beach, and people who live in major cities or other towns and that are affected with the homeless issue, who live downtown, they're affected about every day.
Yeah.
This is something that affects us each and every day. We're down here in the trenches. We see it every day.
Every day.
So I can't wait to talk about this. I'm great at complaining about
Oh
homelessness.
goodness, he's great at complaining. Period. I tell you that now.
So I cannot wait. And I have some stats as well, but you can go ahead with the new law that was actually signed. So.
Okay, well, everyone, I think not everyone, a lot of people know that Governor DeSantis signed into law, I think it was last October, his kind of anti-homelessness law. And what it does is it prohibits public sleeping or camping in public places. And let me just tell you what camping, we all know what sleeping is, but camping in the statute is defined as lodging or residing overnight. And so it has to be overnight. What does that term mean?
Very loose term, don't you think? They
Sure.
could be sleeping during the day. I know I love sleeping during the day.
Maybe that's your overnight then.
Maybe that's my overnight. How were they supposed to know that though? Right?
Antoinette, what do you think?
This is not a topic I wanted to talk about because I do not like to mess with the homeless at the same time. And sometimes I do feel bad for them.
Absolutely.
But and plus I did not do the research because they told me at the last minute that we were doing homeless. But I mean, we're here in Florida. It's a sunshine state where the beaches are. And it's hard to go around and think that we're coming to Florida and say, let's hang out. It's a tourist area. Let's hang out. And then we're hanging out with the with the homeless.
I've got a really great feeling about
what?
I don't know. My phone did something.
Wow.
Someone's got a really great feeling about something. Anyway.
Yeah. So I've got a really good feeling too that hopefully we won't see as many homeless in the streets anymore.
So, and I mean, homeless in downtown West Palm Beach is hard, but homeless, it doesn't mean, what is homeless?
Homelessness without lodging, without a home.
But are you guys coming at it good or bad? That's what I'm trying to get the point of this.
I'm not coming we're not coming at it in either way. We're just raising the issue so the topic can be discussed. And so public camping or sleeping, according to the statute, means lodging or residing overnight in a temporary outdoor habitation used as a dwelling or living space, evidenced by the erection of a tent or other temporary shelter.
Erection of a tent?
Yeah, a tent, putting up a tent. The presence of bedding or pillows, or the storage of personal belongings, whatever that means. And so it's kind of a
this could be a very loose term too. What does that mean? Having your shopping cart filled with your stuff? Does that mean camping? Is it more than one individual? Is it several individuals? And this law makes it possible for people to sue the municipality for not enforcing this law. So it's kind of putting it in the hands of law enforcement, but it really is telling the residents, you're the ones that have to make this, think about it. Your law enforcement won't do it unless you talk about it first.
Well, yeah, if you see a problem, you've got to call law enforcement. But if you want to complain about someone camping or sleeping, you have to first give notice to the municipality. So you've got to give written notice to the municipality that, hey, there's a problem. But that doesn't work if someone sleeps outside the studio
next
here
week
tonight.
He's on another block.
Next week they're over there, or next day they're over there. So that really doesn't work. So really, I think that part of the statute is designed for permanent tent cities where people have erected tents or other types of shelters. And they used to have them along the waterfront, if you remember, a while back.
Yeah, and they had to clear them out. Now, we're not talking about the 1% movement when they were rich kids sleeping out in tents. We're talking about homeless people who have erected tents, not people in campers that are in Seattle or San Francisco or anywhere in California that are making $150,000 a year and they don't have housing. They don't have proper housing. We're talking about people who are homeless here, who have been camping here and stay overnight in encampments in South Florida.
Yeah. So you have some statistics.
I have some statistics, actually. The homeless levels. As of 2023, I think they're afraid to give us 2024 and 2025 numbers, but we're talking about over 600,000 to 700,000 homeless people in America. In Florida, that's about 31,000 as of 2023. In comparison, the top states that have the most homelessness are the top largest states, actually. You got California, you have New York, you have Texas, and you have Florida.
Makes sense.
So you have these four states. In comparison, California's at about 180,000. So that's about 6 times more than Florida. Wow. So that's unfathomable numbers. I think they just gave up there. But here we're trying to avoid a repeat show of California.
Well, I think in 2024, the count in Palm Beach County was about 2,150 homeless that they were able to identify. And of course, these numbers aren't, they're pretty
Miami's number
loosey-goosey.
one.
Miami
Miami's
has the
number
most.
one. You got Jacksonville, you have Orlando, and you have Tampa. So they are higher homeless rate than West Palm Beach. So we pale in comparison. However, we're also a smaller city too.
Yeah, it's true. And we all each of us live in the downtown area. And so we're affected by it on a daily basis. We see it on a daily basis. There's just a lot of issues with what's going on with the homeless population. And I'm not sure what the county has done so far to rectify the situation or to enforce Governor DeSantis's law. What the law basically says is that the county, I guess Palm Beach County, has to designate a certain area that the homeless can go to and camp or reside, live. It doesn't necessarily say they have to erect buildings out there, but they have to give public space to someone who is homeless. And they also have to provide, alcohol abuse.
Right. And they have to mental health facilities as well, and programs.
Police protection.
Yes.
Running water, bathrooms. It doesn't say anything about food.
Don't forget the time to build these places.
Well, right? If they're going to build them, but I read the statute as just saying that they just have to make a space available in a certain area, that there's certain limitations of where it can go, but they literally have to just give them some space so that they can camp and put a tent up if they want. But
right. And we've had issues with people taking it upon themselves. You know that the homeless people are always going to congregate where there's food, right? So they live by these feedings as well. And there are people who don't have permits. They feed them out of their trunk, and they're actually making the problem worse instead of better. They think they're doing good, but what they're doing is they're making it worse for the people who actually live in the trenches, which is us.
Right. Yeah, I think a number of them had been, fined.
Yes.
Right. They got fined for giving food out without a permit on the public sidewalk. So I guess it has to do with sanitation and things of that nature. You have to have certain
definitely
requirements of serving food out in the public.
Right. And
I don't think what homeless is all about sanitation. I mean, really, people are just driving. I think people can hear me, or else turn my mic up.
Your mic's about the size.
Turn it back up. I think it's just more about, there's some people that just doesn't want to feed the homeless here. And to me, these people downtown are not really, they're homeless, but they're more mental, because I don't see, homeless doesn't mean that your mom and, to me, homeless is like kids and their parents, and oh my goodness, they're living in their car. To me, that's homeless. To me, people downtown is not technically homeless. They just want to hang out.
You mean the homeless people?
Downtown, I think they just want to hang out.
Well, there's some of them that do have mental issues, and some are just troublemakers, right? Agitators, troublemakers. They just choose not to be a part of society.
Yeah. So there's a difference between, to me, homeless is so broad.
Well, yeah. But usually it's people without shelter.
You guys have had a good amount of time to talk. Let me get my words out. I really appreciate that. Do not touch my button. I don't want it. You move my camera. So at the same time, to me, homeless.
It's always a fight over the buttons here on the live broadcast. But anyway.
So
go ahead.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. So to me, when you talk about homeless, it's a very sensitive topic to me, because I'm like, you're just saying homeless. You don't understand. There's parents, there's kids, there's women, there's all these different people that have different reasons for being homeless. So when you just say homeless, you can't just say you're putting everybody into a bucket. So there's homeless shelter for kids, homeless shelter for women that are abused, homeless shelter for fathers, men, different things. So if you're going to be specific, say the homeless downtown and why they're homeless, and do they have mental problems? Do they choose to be homeless? Because some people choose to be homeless. They don't want to go home.
And some know the laws very, very well.
Yeah.
And how to skirt the law.
And why? I mean, if I had a mentality to be out there and be messy and not have my own bathroom and my own space and all that stuff, I mean, to me, that's a smart thing to do. You have when you're homeless, you get free phone, you get money from the state, you get bus passes, you go wherever you want, people give you food. I mean, why do you need to pay bills if someone else is already doing it?
Right? Must be great life.
Obviously it is, because they're sitting here in
great waterfront property too.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the problems I had, and I know a lot of the downtown residents had, is that they started, the homeless population here started camping along the waterfront. And so we used to walk along the waterfront, and we had to reroute ourselves because there were tents and encampments and bicycles.
Right.
And I think remember the one time didn't they have a refrigerator and a TV out there?
Yeah. And
It's
they
getting
and
out
they
of
plug
hand.
into the
Dryer.
system.
Didn't someone have a washer dryer somewhere? I forget. Anyway.
That was in another state.
That was
that was
another state.
California.
Anyway, but downtown here in West Palm, they had a refrigerator and a big screen TV going.
Yeah.
Right. And over
And
the
sometimes
last,
they plug up into the waterfront, the kayak area. They have a TV. So they learned how to rig that, and they had TV out there.
I have seen some improvement over the last year or so, because I remember
Yes.
there are a lot more homeless people living under the bridges here, and I don't see it as much. I'm not going to say it's completely gone. There are people here who are just fixtures that we see every day.
Yeah.
They haven't been removed. They
Dollar
haven't been
Man.
placed in the proper facilities.
We-
We don't have the facilities, and I wanted to talk about that.
But
too.
they do not, I'm telling you, some of them do not want to be in the facility. They'll take them all the way to Wellington, and they find their way back. They have funds.
Some of them do.
No, it's not some of them. All of them have funds. The
Oh.
government gives them a certain amount to live on the streets.
I don't think so.
When you
No,
do
I mean,
not
we're-
make a, I'm telling you, it's not think. I'm telling you, if you have SNAP, all those food stamp services, those are people who get it. The people who are homeless.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, they have phones. They
I
have
do-
money.
I
They
do
get a
see-
certain amount of
listen,
money a month, and they get bus passes.
So our studio here faces we're looking out onto a courtyard area, and I for a number of months, several people that were homeless were residing not living here, but they would sit out in the morning, plug their phones in, and watch TV on their phones or watch movies.
And to me, those are not. They're people who just want to hang out.
Oh.
They say they're homeless, but they do not have anywhere to go. Yes, it's a technically part of homeless.
Well, anyway,
That's why we have to be careful.
we
when
had to
say
disable
homeless.
all of
Well,
our
if they had those SNAP
electrical outlets.
programs, they wouldn't be eating out of the soup kitchens every week. They'd be
It's
going and
because they're
getting their own
not. Some
food.
of them do not want to go through the process of going.
Yeah, they don't.
going through it because
they
at
don't.
the same time it says you need to be looking for a job. If you're
Right.
not looking for a job, I'm just remembering little stuff that I've heard and when we were talking about homeless downtown. If you're not pursuing and looking for jobs and getting interviews, it's hard for you to get into proper programs too.
Okay.
So these are just lazy. Nope, take that back before I get in trouble.
Yep.
These are people that just don't want to go through the system and don't want to play with the computers, but they'll rather hang out here
No,
and
it's-
Well,
pee in
these are
front
your
of building.
observations. Our observations count because we're here downtown.
Mhm.
We're here downtown. We're watching it every day. I go up and down Clematis Street, the center of downtown. Over the last decade or so,
Mhm. Yep.
we've become a tourist destination with the presidency and all.
Yeah.
We have the #1 green market here in
Yes.
South Florida.
Very nice.
Maybe in the country even. It's packed every single week. You don't see the homeless that well because there's so many
They're
crowds
mixed
here.
in.
So if it's a tourist destination for people,
Yeah.
you would think that we could take care of the homeless problem, but it's still here day in and day out when the tourists are not here. And this is season right now. So there's something that definitely needs to be done about it. The other thing is how much money was actually allotted for this law, right? The original amount was $20 million,
That's
and
for the
now
state.
they've increased it, right? For the state.
State allocation.
State allocation, they've increased it by $10 million. Now, if more than half of these people are not in homeless shelters and there's
By when?
over
Wait,
30,000,
what's the deadline to have them in homeless shelters and when?
It started in October. Right? I think there was
right?
there was a statutory initiating date.
Have they started doing anything
Right.
as yet?
I don't know.
How are you going to build facilities and programs and ancillary programs for people about 15,000 to 20,000 large with 10 million extra dollars? I don't know if the math works out on that.
Yeah.
And by the way, how do you even count all of the homeless that exist?
They don't.
I mean, what kind of a sensor?
I would think
goes
that
out
the
there?
parents, the mothers and children get it first. So these homeless down here may not come to them.
I mean, do people go around asking them, "Are you homeless?"
They do. Well, well, that's another thing. They call it a point in time count. Every year, the county officials, along with some of the nonprofits who assist with helping the homeless, go around to various locations where they know a lot of homeless were congregating, and they called it a point in time count. And it's kind of like a consensus or census for to figure out how many people are out there that are homeless and that need assistance, so that way they can budget for the next year. The problem now is those same people that were doing that are now saying that DeSantis's law may dissuade some of these people from talking to them and saying they're homeless because they're afraid they may get arrested or something under the new law. And so they're not quite sure if that new law is going to impact their census of how many people are actually homeless, which affects their budgeting process. And so,
and how much has it increased from year to year?
Yeah.
And are these programs effective? And isn't it like, okay, you have these homeless here. Where do you place them? Because there could be residents living nearby.
Yeah, the statute does talk about some limitations on where it can be, and I can't remember exactly what that is.
So we're going to move all the homeless to Wellington.
Oh, there we go.
Well, let's say you do
and
move
Jupiter.
them. Let's say you move them far away.
They're going to get a bus and come right back.
What are they going to do for food? They're going to come right back. So if you go to the camping in the woods for a few days, you're going to say, I wish I was back home. They're going to want to come back home, which is downtown.
Right. And it's very entertaining downtown. It is.
They get entertained too.
Yeah. They do all the, I mean, it's, you're right. They're just not sitting somewhere where there's nothing going on. It's like we talked
People
about
watching.
earlier. Yeah, exactly. They can sit there. There's music playing. There's one gentleman who is apparently homeless, and every day he sits outside Duffy's and watches TV.
Right.
And he sits there for hours and just watches TV. Other people sit at the park and people watch.
But we have seen some ugly stuff too, right? Over the past couple of decades. I remember one incident specifically where a woman got stabbed right in her neck with her own fork because she wouldn't offer a cigarette to one of the homeless people.
Yeah.
So there are people who are very disturbed.
Yeah.
And they don't have a chance to protect us from these kind of incidents.
Because you never know when they're going to snap. But most of them they're very easygoing. They do not bother anyone other than asking for a little bit of money, which you're not allowed to beg. But there's always one or two that does.
Yeah. Well, I'm a block and a half away or a block away from an ATM machine. When I leave my office, if I wanted to get some cash, there's always 1, 2, and now sometimes a group of 3 and 4 homeless people sitting there. And I'm always asked if I could give some cash after taking money out of the ATM machine. Makes me uncomfortable. And
you remember the time the homeless guy asked you? So Tim goes and pull out money from the ATM machine, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I only have big bills." He was like, "You can change it," or he said he can take it or something.
No, he said you either give me a 20 or you can just get change. And then another guy asked me if I could buy him a meal, and I said, "Listen, I got to go."
Well, they offered you a solution.
Yeah, he had a solution.
That's great.
And I've been asked to. While I'm on my way home, I've been asked if I could stop in the restaurant and order a meal for someone and wait for it and then pay for it and then bring it out.
And we don't want to single out the vendors, but like I said, it's a tourist destination. There are people that go out, they spend good money here at restaurants. They get up, they go to the bathroom, and if it's an outdoor table, I have seen incidents where people have just sat down and started rummaging on their food while they were in the bathroom. So, hopefully that has to come to an end.
Why are they leaving their plates anyways? If it's an outdoor, why would you leave your food?
Well, you got to use the restroom, or you're missing. They're going to come right.
You're just going to leave your food there.
Well, I guess we got to go.
Or even when they pay their bill 2 seconds later, before they have a chance to clear out the table, they'd be jumping on the food.
Yeah, the birds in Zanzibar.
Is that what the birds?
Yeah, do not leave your food on the table.
Oh man,
as soon as you get up, they attack.
Those
birds, like the birds.
By the way, if you've ever been to Zanzibar, they have these huge birds. I guess they're like crows, and man, they sit outside
and they
in the trees and they just watch you.
And they're smart.
And they're smart. Yeah. And as soon as you get up, as soon as you turn your back, they're on your table grabbing your food.
If you have a bread in your hand or anything in your hand, they just swoop down and snatch it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
And that's when we're talking about the sanitation aspect of it, right?
Yeah, well,
that's where healthcare comes in. That's their situation.
I mean,
how are you going to tell them sanitation? You mean bathing, washing their hands before they grab someone else's food?
And listen, it's a real problem. I was here in the studio here just several months ago, and right outside the window here is a pillar, like a big square pillar, and apparently some of the individuals who were homeless decided that if they hide behind the pillar, no one will see them urinating. Of course, I do, because I'm sitting right here watching him. I tapped on the window and put my hands like this, saying, "Hey, like, what are you doing?" And he flipped me the bird, told me to go F off, and walked away.
Mm-hmm. Like because you're messing with his porta potty.
We've had other instances of people on the other door defecating in front of the door. They come in the morning and are trying to use the courtyard as their person. We have a fountain. They're bathing in the fountain, and so we had a woman who decided to bathe in the fountain, took all of her clothes off, and had to be escorted away by the police.
So they're not worried about this law, right? It's up to us to be worried about it.
Yes, because it's not going to bother. It bothers them, but it doesn't really bother them because
they have no recourse.
I think these people down here, they're homeless in another category of homeless, meaning they have substance abuse. They have struggles with their brain.
Yes. Well, Clearly, some of them do. The one,
mental illness.
yeah.
All
I
that
mean,
stuff.
the one guy
So
goes
they're
down the
not
streets
just
and fighting
saying
with
I'm
invisible
homeless.
people.
Yeah.
Right. You can say it's
What
on
is that the Clematis Clubber?
the Clematis Clubber, we call him, right? He does shadow boxing, a lot
Yeah.
of shadow boxing out on the street, and that's just one example.
Yeah.
There was another man who just kept on stuffing empty FedEx boxes all day long. You know, so I mean, they have their
It's
little
broad.
hobbies, but they're fixtures here, and there's no mental health help anywhere
Yeah.
for these people in some
So
cases.
the money that DeSantis is putting aside is I don't think it's going to really touch some of these guys downtown here.
I don't know.
So you're thinking
I
that
don't
you're
think
going
the
to
math works.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's going to help out
But at the same
homeless
time,
people
it's
that
up to
really need
us
help.
to complain about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess if we're just complaining, yeah.
Well, I mean, with the like I said, the new statute or the new law enacted by Governor DeSantis allows private citizens who are residents of Palm Beach County or business owners who have a business in Palm Beach County to sue the county or the municipality, West Palm Beach, I guess, or any town in Palm Beach County, to sue them and try to get an injunction to make them or to force them to enforce the law. But the problem with that is, again, if it's not just if it's not an encampment where it's ongoing, it's there every day, where they can get an injunction and remove it. If it's just someone sleeping on the bench here and the next day they're over here,
You're not going to bother you.
Right. Well, I'm going to file a lawsuit.
How do you prove it's repetitive?
Yep.
Right.
How many people are there? And how much of the municipality's resources are they going to use up to defend themselves against it? Because I think the first thing they would do is defend themselves instead of actually solving the problem. So are we putting a Band-Aid on the problem?
I don't know. Yeah,
I
maybe.
think it's a Band-Aid.
And they're lawyers specifically for homeless people. They're homeless people.
There
lawyers.
are.
Yeah.
Legal aid and other individuals.
And I don't think this is a political issue either, because homelessness is in all of these states, and some of them are some of them are conservative, some of them are liberal. So this isn't homelessness. Doesn't see. It's blind to that.
Right. It crosses over all political parties, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent. If it affects you, it affects you. If you're out in, like we talked about earlier, if you're out in Wellington in a gated community, you don't see it.
What about the drug use? You want to talk about that too?
Oh, well, I've witnessed outside on my balcony watching over the park. I've witnessed
with binoculars.
With my binoculars.
Lord have mercy.
but I've witnessed, this is before DeSantis' law went into effect, but I witnessed people coming in and it looks like they're selling them something because they're exchanging something for something. It looks like money for something else. And so it looks like they're selling them drugs and things of that nature. It has cleaned up since DeSantis' law passed. I don't see as many people sleeping in the park anymore. They used to be sleeping all along the what's the name of that?
Amphitheater.
No, not the amphitheater, where the glass booth. The
pavilion.
The pavilion.
There's a lot still.
They used to always be at Jose Marti Park. Not as many. Right now, they put some fitness equipment there instead. So they have cleaned up that area. We can't say that they haven't enforced some of it, but it still is up to us if we see encampments.
I like the fitness area.
I haven't seen the fitness area.
And I, we went and worked
pretty
out
good.
there.
It's pretty good.
Was it one of those outdoor things you go like a little?
Right. They've got
circuit?
at least maybe 10 to 12 pieces of equipment there. And people always used to come and do their exercising there. But every time there was a soup kitchen that came along, there'd be
where they were.
25 to 40 homeless people. I remember seeing them there. And they'd get good food too.
Yeah. No,
some of these meals would look great.
No, they used to set up a food kitchen right downtown in West Palm Beach, literally across the street from Pistache Restaurant. So Poor Pistache Restaurant is sitting there and the people are outside dining. And 20 feet away, there is just a soup kitchen, a food line.
And then you feel guilty because you're eating this fancy meal and you're enjoying the money that you work so hard for. And then the homeless, they're feeding the homeless right in front of the #1 restaurant downtown.
Do they feel sorry or do they feel angry?
No, both.
Do they feel sorry?
No, both. It makes you uncomfortable.
They're upset.
You're very uncomfortable.
I mean, we've had like you talked about it earlier, people are sitting outside dining, both not only Pistache, but other restaurants along Clematis and downtown area. They're sitting there and they're approached by someone asking for their meal or for some, hey, can I have some food while they're having lunch, having dinner?
That happens to me. I just gave him my meal. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh.
No, I clean my plate. I don't give it to anybody.
And that's the last time I went to, it was Nico's Pizza and I was eating there and I was like, oh, these meals are good because Teddy and I went, or TK and I went. I keep on going to TK and I went, and I was like, oh, they have big portions. This is delicious. This is good. So I started going on a regular, and then eventually I was like, that's enough now. Because every minute I'm eating, they're coming up to me asking for food.
But that is part of the problem, especially for some of the vendors too, right? Some of the
Yeah.
vendors have given up. So when they come
Yeah.
over, they give them like a croissant or something, so they'll go away, or they say,
They
you know,
do.
here's a cup of coffee. Please don't come by the establishment again.
Yeah.
But we're
it has the
regulars.
opposite effect. They go and they tell their friends. They go and they tell their friends, and then the friends come. So it becomes worse. So it's like a catch-22 situation. You
Right.
can't fix it.
I have noticed there's not, no, I shouldn't say I have noticed. I'm going to say during the daytime, I don't notice it as much, but I'm at work during the daytime. But in the morning, for a while, like we talked about it before, Starbucks
Right.
was a big place. And I still think they're sitting outside of Starbucks.
That was an encampment.
Yeah. And
that's the ideal spot every morning.
Yeah.
You see them, they're piled up there. They have to get their coffee. They need to wake up.
So the law's changed, but how long before they catch on?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How long before they can enforce that?
But if they buy one coffee, they're good. And I bet they're buying a coffee, or someone's buying
yeah,
them their
because
coffee.
they're begging for a couple bucks, and that's enough for them to stay there all day long. I think they can manage that.
Yeah, and it's hard sometimes. I've walked.
Okay, so what's the point of this? I'm trying to get the legal part of this. This is
Well, the legal part is that there's a law that Governor DeSantis has passed, and I'm wondering if it's really working.
Right.
Because it's so hard to define what is homelessness and what you can and can't do, and what's sleeping overnight. When does it start? When you sleep at 6 p.m.
That's loosely
Teddy,
defined.
what's your Discord people saying?
Well, they're talking about
please.
10 cities. They're
Please.
talking about 10 cities.
Give us some questions so we can answer
I
something.
haven't seen any questions yet, but people are talking about food stamps. They're
I'm already
talking
falling
about
asleep
camp
with this
cities.
topic.
This is not like what we see Skid Row in California. It's a
No.
completely different situation. I think there it's out of control.
Yeah.
Maybe they've actually given up. Who knows?
Yeah.
But here we're trying to make a difference. We're becoming a very big tourist destination, and that's a huge issue. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it a Band-Aid? Does this change the amount of homelessness out there? I don't think so, this law. I think it just displaces people from one place to another.
I think so.
But how do you successfully do that with very little funds? I don't know.
Yeah, and the funding certainly sounds like it's not going to be enough. An extra $10 million, which is a lot of money, but for the amount of people and services they have to provide, I don't know. It's not an easy problem. It's like I said, it's a difficult issue. It's controversial. It's difficult, and we're certainly not here saying that we're anti-homelessness. I think they should be helped, and I think but it's a big societal problem in just a lot of areas.
And again, we're talking about yes, it is a major city. It's a large county, Palm Beach County, but we still are behind Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville, and Orlando in terms of homelessness.
Right.
So we're not the #1 city. I remember in Miami, I used to take the Bright Line down, and where I ended off in Miami, it was in this place called Overton. I think that's how you pronounce it, Overtown.
Yep.
There'd be like hundreds of homeless people, with all of their clothes right under the bridges there, actually sleeping in the middle of the street as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the situation is much worse there.
Sleeping in the middle of the street, that's drug abuse. To sleep in the middle of the street.
That's
that means
how abandoned. That's
something.
how abandoned that area is now. Now it has a lot of building going on in that area. They're cleaning it up, but we don't have the same type of problem. But we are becoming a tourist destination, and tourists won't come, and the vendors are going to suffer as a result.
No, I've heard complaints from people from out of town where you're sitting around and you start talking to someone somewhere, and they'll say they're from out of town, and they comment like walking up and down Clematis. They said, I think one person said there are a lot of sketchy people up and down Clematis.
Definitely.
But where are they from?
If
they're from New York, they should see sketchy people all the time, because there's a lot of New Yorkers here.
New York City, but what's New York City? Well, New York is a lot bigger than New York City.
Oh yeah.
Actually, some of the homeless are actually clever, because when the tourists do come, they up their ante, and they, instead of asking for $1, they ask for $5, $10. Pretty clever.
Yeah. The one guy,
they know their market.
The one guy just lies there, and as people walk by, he asks, "You got $1? Got $1?"
Yeah.
Everyone.
Got any dollars? Got some dollars?
Every single person that walks by. Yeah, I think he asked me 2 or 3 times a day. I'd be bankrupt.
Go broke.
Just know, guys, this topic was not for me. I told them not even to do this one.
But it's a topic that affects us.
I love complaining about
this is not an hour topic.
So what do you
33 minutes on board.
Oh, well.
We can talk about beauty if you want.
I don't want to talk about beauty. What that has to do with legal shit?
Talk about fitness and beauty.
This is legal shit.
I'm going to legally beautify you.
So this law though, I'm not sure how much is going to change the scene. I mean, the enforcement has to be there, and it's up to the residents to do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do my shameless plug.
Oh, my Lord.
Okay.
What do you got there for us?
So we have a downtown. So we also have a nonprofit called TrackFit. It's called Fit Body Boot Camp. It's a giveaway that we did not get to give away. So we have 2 lucky winners. All you have to do is how would we do this? I just thought about it at the last minute when I was walking, how to give away the workouts.
I don't know.
So it's Fit Body. It's 2 weeks of unlimited boot camp classes at 112 North Dixie Highway, West Palm Beach. So it's literally downtown next to the homeless people. But there are no homeless people there next to them. But at the same time, if you want to get in shape, we're gonna pick someone. So once we get to 200 on the Legal Shit website, let's get to 100 because right now we're at 50 something.
Right. So sorry, folks, we're not broadcasting from Legal Shit yet. We have some technical issues, but we'll make sure to have that taken care of for you by next week.
So once we get to 200 on the Legal Shit website, we're gonna give away free workouts. And you get your T-shirt, one for a man.
Oh, look at that.
Woohoo!
What's that say? Don't
Can
quit.
You see it?
No,
wait,
look, lower.
Wait. Let me lower it a little bit.
Oh my Lord.
Right here. Let me see.
Can you see that?
Where's the camera? Oh,
there
you go. Big camera.
Good Lord.
So don't quit. There
Don't
you
quit.
go. And it's at Fit Body. What does it say?
Fit Body Boot Camp.
Yes. So that's one of our supporters for the nonprofit. And these are one of our shameless plugs. So one for a man. Here you go, Mr. Schulz.
Got it. There you go.
Here you go.
Don't quit. Very nice.
And one for a woman. So there you go. So let us know. Once we get to 200, we're just going to put your name in a...
The women's one, slightly more revealing. Slightly more
Bunch
revealing.
of bullshit.
What are you talking
That's
about?
not legal shit.
Exercise?
That's bullshit.
I don't get what I'm going to say. What's your point of saying that now? Yes, let's go there.
Anyway.
This is our shameless plug that supports our nonprofit, and they were really good at giving away these 2 camps because someone's not working out, and we ask them every day. TK and I work out. We ask Mr. Schulz every day, will he work out? He hasn't started as yet.
I got to get back to it.
We're still waiting.
Okay.
We're still waiting.
Yeah, okay.
And
Well,
eventually we're going to do a push-up contest to see who can do the most push-ups.
Push-up contest.
Timothy has to work every day.
Prize.
I want to see if I can beat these 2 doing push-ups.
I mean, if you put like a Sunday right underneath me, I'll probably.
How about that?
I'll do 100.
So that's our shameless plug, okay? Fitness
Okay.
boot camp.
Thank you.
Fit Body Boot Camp.
Okay.
Hey, we need to do our stop. We need to get our sponsors in.
Fit Body Boot Camp.
Thank you.
Push-up contest.
And I encourage anybody in chat, if they have any questions about this, I know you're from all over the country and you have your own personal problems, vicissitudes to deal with over there, right? So if you have comments or if you have questions, please feel free and I'll read them here.
Yes.
All righty. So I think we're going to get ready to go home since Antoinette's very bored with the topic.
Yeah, this topic is boring. I'm sorry. I hope you guys can pay attention through it.
I hope the situation improves, as a matter of fact.
Well, me too.
I do.
I could talk about it all day long, but it would be me complaining over and over.
But at the same time, like I said, people sometimes just want to be on the street.
Well, there's some people that want to be.
Yeah.
There's other people that, unfortunately, because the cost of housing or other circumstances, have to be. There's also drug use and there's also mental issues.
I do have one story. So there was a homeless guy. Now he got his leg amputated. But he used to go around saying that he was rich, he was this, he used to get girlfriends, all these different things. I, for one, never spoke to him because I was like, this guy's weird. I don't want to talk to him. He's in the same outfit, 2 phones in his back pocket. We called him Mr. T. Yep. And then at one point I go, I had a client because I do stretching also, and I stretch people. And I had a special needs client I was stretching. And I go to their home and Mr. T's at the home with his girlfriend. I said, Lord have mercy. Now I have to speak to this man. I said, okay, hi, hugs, whatever. So next time I see him on the streets, I'm like, now I have to speak to him because sometimes I just want to walk and I don't want to speak to anyone.
I have not seen Mr. T around lately.
Because he had his leg amputated because of diabetes. Now to tell the story that I'm still trying to tell. Okay, go ahead.
No, I just said I haven't seen Mr. T downtown. That's all.
Okay, so now to fast forward, I come to find out that the girlfriend did not know that he's a habitual liar. Her sister researched him and found out that everything he said is fake. He's homeless. But then come to find out, He just likes to be on the streets. He does not want, he has place to go. He has family. He has all that stuff. He just does not want to be home. He is bored. Now he had diabetes. His legs got amputated. He comes back out with his amputated leg in his wheelchair. He's sleeping in different areas, but he has a home. He has somewhere to go. He just does not want to be there.
Well, he wouldn't be part of the problem by our definition.
No, right? And he has money.
He doesn't bother anyone.
Right. No, he also told me he had 92 condos in Wellington, but that's another story.
I do. I have heard some stories.
So that's what I'm saying is like that money that DeSantis may not even touch the homeless population downtown is because it's a choice also.
All right. Anything else?
I guess it continues, right? The story continues here.
Yes, it does.
All we really wanted to bring to light here is the fact that you have a law and it makes it unlawful to camp out in public spaces, and it's not up to the homeless to clear out. We have to enforce it as the residents.
Yeah. And then the
law
just
also, know you're going to always have a porta potty
right in front of the studio here.
But we definitely have a dilemma, and that
we can flip the
shower and bath are right about 30 yards from here.
That requires money. That requires resources. So $10 million, I don't think is going to cut it for the entire state.
I think what we should do I think I'm going to talk to the condo board and see if we can ask the state for money because we have shower and bath facilities here we're providing.
The sprinklers out here at the end of the street on the waterfront are not for bathing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's another episode of Legal Shit.
And another shameless plug. So
shameless plug by Antoinette.
We are downtown West Palm Beach. We're located inside of Timothy Schulz law firm, downtown West Palm Beach. And make sure you remember, send us some topics. Give us something spicy to talk about if we're missing the beat.
And my shameless plug is join me on the Elisa Jordana show.
And guess what, guys? TK has his own page. So we got to get those numbers up.
There we go.
TK has his own page.
I have my own page as well. I may be doing some other live streaming. I'm going on vacation very soon, and I might be experimenting with that. So we'll see what happens.
I can't wait to watch it. And also make sure you're following my page also. Okay.
What's your page?
Antoinette Travels.
Okay. That's where we're from. That's where we're broadcasting from today, folks. Yes. You can always subscribe to both. And
one day you're going to see all of us working out. Maybe I can get all these guys to work out and do a workout video with us, with us.
Let us know in the comments how we're doing too. We'd love to read that so we can improve.
Yeah, and if you have any topics you'd like discussed, let us know. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Goodbye.
Oh, we're ending it. Oh, and remember, wait, stop for a second. Stop. There's a delay. See, it's still delaying. Okay, now it's done.
We gotta high five each other.
You're talking, saying, "Oh,
high five."